Today, registration of drones and model aircraft in the UK became a reality. After months of consultations and testing, the Drone and Model Aircraft Registration and Education Scheme is now available online, and come the 30th of November, in just 3 weeks' time, becomes mandatory. So as many have said, this is, in my opinion too, the CAA's staggeringly ill-thought attempt to ensure drones are only used in a safe, legal and controlled manner. Either way, as I said, it's mandatory. So what's involved and how do you get yourself trained up and registered? Hello, I'm Ian in London and I make videos on tech and drone related stuff. As ever, if you like this sort of thing, then click that old thumbs up for me and maybe hit the subscribe and bell buttons to get notified when I put new stuff out. Anyway, look, many countries around the world are introducing drone registration, and today the UK became one of those countries. From today, and mandatory from the 30th of November, anyone flying in the UK, including visitors, must have 2 registrations up their sleeve. They must have passed an online training assessment to get their flyer ID, and they must have also registered themselves as an operator, obtained their operator ID and attached this ID to the drone itself. Bizarrely, all drones between 250 grams and up to 20 kilograms have precisely the same requirements. So whether or not you're flying a 300 gram Spark or a 10 kilogram Matrice, it's the same risk, presumably, in the CAA's eyes. But as mentioned, the little Mavic Mini slips under the requirement to register by just 1 gram, although it is still subject, of course, to all the other drone rules on where and how you can fly it. And given that it's got a camera, it will almost certainly have to be registered under the new EU regulations that CAA are probably adopting next year. Anyway, there's a few other exemptions. Members of some model aircraft associations will have their details uploaded, and if they also hold an association competency, then that can also be used in some cases in place of online training. Likewise, for PFCO, permission for commercial operation holders like myself, we still have to register but don't necessarily have to do the training, although the certificate for exemption hasn't yet been produced as far as I know. So to be honest, seeing as the training is free and you should know all of that information anyway, and it only takes about 5 minutes, probably get on and do it anyway. And that's what we're going to do today. Let's get down to the detail. It's clear a lot of thought has gone into the website design, and this will help you get through the 2 registration processes. So click the link that states register to get a flyer ID and operator ID. As you go through to the new page, it explains the differences between the 2. As I said, the flyer ID is the person flying. This is the training and assessment part. The operator ID is the person responsible for the drone. Obviously, in 99% of cases, it's going to be the same as the flyer. But for businesses and parents of children under the age of 18, they will be the person legally responsible for the drone, even if they're not flying it. So next, click the Prepare for the Test link. This takes you through to a page outlining the test requirements. It lays everything out on a plate for you, telling you everything you need to know to pass the test, which can be found on the Drone and Model Aircraft Code. It goes on to tell you there are 20 multiple choice questions and that you only need 16 to pass. And if that wasn't easy enough, you can take the test as many times as you like until you pass. So let's briefly look at that code. The screen breaks down into 6 different sections, all the aspects of the test and the recommendations and laws covering the flights. First section is safety and responsibility, outlining who is legally responsible and how you should fly, maintaining visual line of sight at all times. Next section is where you can legally fly, including the absolute maximum height, the distances from people, structures and congested areas, as well as the restrictions around flying near crowds, airstrips and airports. So with the legal bits out of the way, the next section then goes into more common sense aspects of flying and making every flight safe. Things like knowing the functionality and the limits of your drone, checking the battery levels, the weather, and making sure its software is up to date. It tells you not to have that beer whilst flying, and it reminds you not to try and make money. Yes, sadly, it seems the CAA's continuing view is that despite there probably being no difference in the flight or risks, making money somehow changes everything and means you need to fork out around £1,000 on that training and assessment for your PFCO. Anyway. Finally, they cover privacy and what you can do with the videos and photos you take. And they usefully point out that if you're taking a photo for a criminal purpose, then that's against the law, which is good. They've cleared that one up. That was very confusing, I thought. Anyway, right, after that, they reiterate who must take the test and the fact that it only lasts 3 years. So yes, whilst your driving license allows you and driving test allows you to drive your car for at least 50 years, the CAA's free drone assessment test only lasts 3 years. But just to confuse things further, the operator ID that requires no assessment only lasts 1 year, and that's the bit that costs £9 a year. And then the final page lists pretty much every link possible to all the rules and laws applicable to drones and model aircraft before you finally get to the test. They summarise the options and the costs and offer that big green Start Now button. So with that, let's get started. First off, they need an email address. Enter your email and check for a 6-digit code emailed immediately to you. Then confirm if you're a flyer operator needing both a training flyer ID as well as a legally responsible operator ID. As I mentioned, if you're just flying your own drone, yes, you will be both the flyer and the operator. And then you start the test. It consists of 20 multiple choice questions that appear in a random order, which means they will be in a different order to what you're seeing in this video. As the site states, all the information for the test is found on the drone and model aircraft code pages. So it is really important that you read through those pages. It only takes around 5 to 10 minutes, but crucially it arms you with all the knowledge to pass the test, how to fly right, and also to defend yourself if you're ever challenged by a member of the public. The questions are worded to make you think about the info you've been reading. It is not about just recalling individual facts and lines of text. They also assume that you're fluent in metric as well as imperial, so remember 120 meters equals 400 feet, as that's a bit of a crucial one. Once you've answered all of the questions, you get your score immediately. If you've got 16 or more, then you've passed, and any incorrect answers will be explained there and then. If you've got 15 or less, then you'll be invited to review the drone code pages again and then take the test again. Finally, to complete the registration, you then need to enter your name, your date of birth, your address, and of course the payment details. And after all that, you still then need to tick a load of boxes, promising to do pretty much everything under the sun and promising to always fly right, before you finally get your 2 codes. Yet, confusingly, you will get 2 codes, only one of which needs to go onto the drone or aircraft itself, the operator ID. The flyer ID, though, does need to be with you on your person, so keep it in your case maybe, and produced on demand if challenged by the police or whoever. Couldn't be simpler, could it? So look, that is the whole process. Good intentions, but missing the mark springs to mind. Those intent on doing mischief won't register, and thus to me kind of makes the whole idea of registration a tad pointless. Yeah, sure, if the police find you and you can't produce a valid ID, then you have committed a criminal offence and you're going to have to face the consequences. But as I said before, to me, tying this into the manufacturer's apps to maybe limit the drone into some sort of beginner mode would have been far more effective and probably easier and cheaper to manage. But anyway, look, there we are. I don't make the rules. There are new rules coming in during 2020, and as we find out more information on that, I will keep you posted. Hopefully that has outlined all the requirements for today, and as I said, it's got to be done in the next 3 weeks. I would genuinely be interested to read your thoughts and comments on what you think of the whole process. It's a little bit polarising and there's going to be differences of opinion, so as ever, keep it respectful, respect other people's opinions, but feel free to shout your own. Anyway, until next time, have fun, happy flying.